Now we're going to be looking at the Lagos Settlement Week. And like I said at the beginning, it's not settlement the way you're thinking about it, you know. When are you going to settle me? It's not that kind of settlement. This all has to do with lawyers and the law and a settlement week. Well, we have a panel of 3 lawyers who are going to explain to us exactly what the settlement week is all about. And it's my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Adeyinka Aroyewun, who is Deputy Director, Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse.
Yes.
Mr. Wale Adesokan, who's a member of the Nigerian Bar Association.
Thank you very much.
As well as Mrs. Achere Cole, who is Lagos Settlement Week Administrator.
Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us this morning. Now, let me begin with you, Madam, Mrs. Aroyewun. What is the Settlement Week?
Well, you were talking about lawyers, but really the settlement week, it's about alternative dispute resolution. And it's a week that's been set aside by the Chief Judge of Lagos State for selected courts in Lagos to refer their cases to the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse for the settlement week. Now, those cases are going to be resolved through alternative dispute resolution, and usually we use mediation. It's a technique of ADR, and usually we use mediation to settle those cases.
Okay, so you don't want us to go to court?
No.
I have an issue with Mr. Adesokan, for instance.
Yes.
Instead of taking him to court, I come to the settlement week so that we can resolve this matter without...
Exactly. Not through litigation.
Not through litigation.
But through alternative dispute resolution. So what the Chief Judge has done is just to select some courts, because there are some cases that are not suitable for ADR, for alternative dispute resolution. Select some courts, like maybe general civil case, commercial, and things like that, and cases like that, and send them to the multi-door courthouse for the for settlement.
Okay.
ADR.
The cases to be dealt with are at her discretion.
Well, not.
But maybe she has a
really.
team of people working with her, and they all select the cases that will go to this.
No, the officers of the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse are specially trained to screen cases.
Okay.
So even the cases that are in commercial or general civil, when they are brought to the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse in preparation for the settlement week, we screen them to see if they're suitable for time-bound mediation, which is what we're going to have during the settlement week. We're going to have just 3 hours slotted for each of the cases, settle them, and then move on to the next one.
Okay. Mr. Adesokan, what is the purpose of the settlement week?
The purpose of the settlement week is to offer people the opportunity to have their matters resolved cheaply, quickly, and
I like the cheap part.
Cheaply, quickly, and to also decongest the dockets of the judges. The judges have quite a heavy list in their dockets. So some of these cases that are suitable after being screened for quick mediation, they are taken out and referred to the LMDC, which is the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse, and then they are taken and they are dealt with within that week, the 5th to the 9th of November. Not just cases in court. People are also encouraged who haven't taken their cases to court already but have disputes. They can do so. They
Yes,
can
I was going
reach,
to come to that.
They can reach the LMDC.
Okay.
But now, because it's so close, they have to do it before the 31st of October, by or before the 31st of October.
Okay, Mrs. Cole, if I had a problem, for instance, that I was thinking of going into litigation with, and now hearing of this alternative now, and I wanted to bring it to the settlement week, how would I go about it?
A very simple process. You come to the multi-door courthouse,
Which is where?
High Court of Lagos, Igboshiri.
Okay.
That's one way, and fill the necessary forms, and also bring your statement of issues, which simply means telling us what the case is about. Write it out and bring it to us. And then you could also go to our website and download the submission forms, and you can get all the information you need. Send it to our email address, which is lsweek.lmdc@gmail.com. So you can send us the information. So 2 ways, you could walk in, or you can send us an email, or you could even call.
Okay, so those cases that have been selected for this settlement week, how do you reach those who are involved in those cases?
Okay, what we do, first of all, let me give you the example of the cases that were referred from the courts.
Okay.
What the judges do is to give an enrollment of order and ask them to go to the... Well, what it means... Well, what that means,
We're not lawyers.
well, what does it mean is just the judge is ordering them.
Okay.
And telling them, just telling them that your matter has been referred to the Lagos Multi-Door Court or to the Lagos Settlement
Whether
Week.
you like it or not.
Yes. Well, most, we've got to, sometimes the ADR needs to have a little bit of push, mandatory. It's a voluntary process. But sometimes we find out that people need to be given a little bit of push, actually just to attend the process and see what it is like. Yes, we can take a horse to the river, you cannot force it to drink, but at least let them come in and see what the process is like. So in most cases, what the judge does is to, give an order that your matter has been referred to the multi-door. Now, the parties then come into the multi-door courthouse. Some of them waiving enrollment of orders, or some of them coming in and say, look, this is what the judge said, this is what the court registrar said, and then we take it up from there. The Lagos Settlement Week administrator takes it up from there. Now, sometimes the respondent doesn't come. Sometimes it's the applicant that comes in, and the respondent doesn't come for one reason or the other. Now, we have to do letters to their lawyers, and if we have the details, the corresponding details of the respondents, of the parties, we do send to them as well. But what we do essentially is to send letters to the lawyers. We hope in the very near future, parties and their lawyers will give the details of their corresponding addresses to the courts, so that it will be easier for us to get in touch. Or email addresses. That's what we've told them to do now, so that it will be easier for us to get in touch with the parties.
So if one of the parties refuses to show up, what happens? Especially if it's the person who's accused or who's being brought before
Exactly.
the court.
We have some cases like that, which we call submission challenges. So what we do, we either call the ADR judge. We have what we call alternative dispute resolution judges. And there's, one of their duties is to talk to recalcitrant parties, that is, parties who don't want to come. So we do a letter, and we say, look, your refusal to submit has been reported to the ADR judge, or even to the referral judge. We make a case to the referral judge and say, look, these two parties that you've asked to come, one of them have refused to, do a report, and then the judge can send a hearing notice or something, just to ensure that they attend.
What legal authority will the judge have to bring the case back to court if it's being referred to ADR?
Well, that's automatic. For example, if matters are referred from judges to the alternative dispute resolution at the multi-door or the Lagos Settlement Week, if the parties don't settle, or the parties refuse to attend, or for some reason the parties, just discontinue, they say they don't want to, then automatically the cases are referred back to the referral judge.
Okay, let me ask Mrs. Cole. In other parts of the world, I'll use an example that I know quite well, which is the UK, is you have mediation, community mediation, that is run mainly by local authorities. And they use this as a way of decongesting the magistrate courts within their community. Why is this not working in Nigeria? I know that this looks like the Lagos Settlement Week is pointing in that direction, alternative dispute resolution, rather than congesting the court with my wife looked at me this way, or my neighbor didn't like the noise that was made yesterday, and stuff like that, and they go to court.
So you're asking why we don't have community mediations yet?
Yes.
I would say it's a gradual process, and in the UK they've gone, of course, way ahead of us. The multi-door courthouse began in 2003, and then it's the first of its kind. It's court connected. It's the first of its kind in the whole of Africa. So before now, you didn't have an established structure for resolving disputes out of the court. It would just be do it within family setting or within the trade unions and all of that. So it hasn't existed till now. So we've done about 10 years now. That's the multi-door courthouse, has about 10 years under its belt. I want to believe we're going to go into community mediations eventually. This is a test run. It's been set up in other states also. So definitely we'll get to the point of community mediations. It isn't happening now. However, we've gone to places like Alaba International Market to tell them, train them, teach them about mediation. So we're actually getting into the grassroots. We've also Sangros Market. We've started going to different communities to sensitize them about mediation and also train them about mediation so they can begin to mediate within their little circles. And a sister organization, the Lagos State Government, is Citizens Mediation Center. They have very little centers all over Lagos, down to Ekpe and all over Lagos. So it's beginning to happen,
So how can
in different
people
phases.
access this? Because I'm hearing this for the first time.
Wow.
I've always assumed that there is no mediation council. I was a member of Hillingdon Community Mediation in England, but I've never heard of it in Nigeria. I just assumed, well, it's not something that people do. How would anybody be able to access this?
It's gaining ground, and but how you access it is to go to the centers. And the centers are so many. I think we keep hearing this, that they haven't, nobody has heard. But that's why we're here today. We keep on going on.
Actually, you have been on Sunrise before.
Yes. We've been talking, we do a lot of awareness. We're on radio now. We're constantly running jingles and hoping. And then really, as soon as we go on air and on TV or the press, we get lots of calls. Somebody says, my husband is beating me, or somebody calls, I want to reject my tenant, all sorts of issues. We do have people calling in to find out how they can access our services. So I guess probably need a lot more awareness. We hope you can.
I wanted to say that.
Okay, you spoke about the cheap part, so let's talk about that for a moment. This is my imaginary case that I have with you that I want to take to the settlement week. How do I get charged for that service that the administrator and his group are going to render to me?
Now, for the settlement week, it is free. If you are going to take...
So that's why we have to come during the settlement week. We want to try and get our case in.
Settled, yes.
Okay.
Because if you go to court to start a case, you will pay filing fees.
To start
Even
with.
though the apparatus of the judiciary is maintained by public funds, you still have to pay filing fees.
Which is about how much?
Well, depending, it is measured depending on the claims that you are making. The claims that you are making. But you are not likely to pay less than 10,000 naira for, and it could go very, very high.
Yes,
it could
that's
go as
why
far
some
as
people will not go to court.
And also
And
to
if you're
go
not going
to court,
to
you
here's
get a
your
lawyer.
chance.
You
Settlement
get a
week.
lawyer to go to court. To do this,
I don't need a
you
lawyer.
may or may not go with a lawyer.
Okay.
For cases that are in court, it is taken that your lawyers will accompany you. But for walk-in cases that are not yet in court, you could go meet them and it could be mediated without the presence of the lawyers.
Which makes
If
it a
you
lot
take
cheaper
advantage
for you.
of that window
Yeah.
of 5th to 9th of November.
5th to 9th of November is settlement week. And if, for instance, you tell me that my case is not suitable for settlement week,
Now, there are many instances in which your case might not be suitable for settlement week. It might be because of a number of reasons. It might be because it's not suitable for time-bound mediation, which the settlement week, I told, as I said earlier, is a 3-hour thing. Now, if it's not suitable for time-bound mediation, it's fine.
Okay.
You can still bring it to the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse. The settlement week is just one of our projects. So you can still bring it directly to the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse, where you can have enough time to sit down with the mediator and settle your matter. Now, another reason why it might not be suitable for settlement week is because the case itself is not suitable for mediation.
okay,
Criminal matters, for example, are not suitable for mediation. I mean, you wouldn't kill somebody's daughter and then sit down with the person and begin to mediate. I mean, what are you going to discuss? What are you going to negotiate? You're not bringing the girl back or anything like that. So things like that, fraud, high-level fraud. I think matters like that should probably go to the EFCC or to the police. So there are some cases that mediation cannot, will not be suitable, So if in such, if you have such a case, it's better you go back to the courts, or to a suitable organization that will handle it.
So if you then have a number of civil cases that are referred to Lagos Multi-Door House or Lagos Settlement Week, what would be the chances that somebody might say something that could be used as evidence against them if the case fails?
That is during mediation.
During mediation.
Good. Now, one of the cornerstones of mediation is that it's without prejudice. It's a highly confidential process. And one of the things that the mediator would explain to you or to the parties when they start is that nothing said here can be used as evidence in court. Nothing.
Okay, that's clearly stated.
Yes, it's clearly stated at the beginning of the process.
Okay.
It's a highly confidential process. You can't use anything against and no judge would come and say, oh, what happened during the proceedings, come and tell us in open court. No.
Okay.
The judges themselves are trained and they know that.
Okay,
such
how
things will
should
not
one
happen.
prepare, Mrs. Cole? How should one prepare for this kind of mediation?
The people to prepare are, of course, the parties and the lawyers. The parties have to look at...
No, let us assume that this is a walk-in case, so there are no lawyers involved yet.
Okay.
It is just myself with this case against Mr. Adesokan. So you've invited the two of us, and we both walk in. How should we prepare before we come in?
You have to think about your case, very simply. Think about what your dispute is. And then what is, I'd say it's technical, is what is your best alternative to a negotiated agreement, and what is your worst alternative?
Okay, he owes me 3 years rent.
3 years rent.
For instance.
He owes you 3 and you're the landlord.
I'm the landlord.
Now, what do you want?
I want my money and I want him out.
Now you're thinking, you're thinking about it now.
Yes.
You might not be able to get your money and him out. So you look at what is the best alternative. If I get to this place and this man says, I can't pay the 3 years rent now,
Okay.
but I can pay you in 6 months. I can pay you in 3 months.
Okay.
Then you begin to think, can I afford to allow him stay for an extra 3 months or 6 months, instrumental payments? There are different options that you have to think about. What's your bottom line? What will you not take? And what will you take? So that's what, guides the mediation and gets you to a resolution at the end of the day.
If the worst comes to the worst, would I take just 2 years rent?
Exactly.
If 3 years rent were probably 3 million, 1 million a year, what if he says, look, I can only do 2 million? Would I be prepared to take that? Like 2 million and then you're off? Or would I even take 1 million? So you look at all the options.
Okay. Now, suppose he says at that meeting that he can pay me in 6 months, and I wait 6 months, nothing happens. What do I do?
You've signed an agreement. The beauty about the mediation at the multi-door courthouse is that all agreements are consent judgments of the court. If they're walk-ins, for instance, they're consent judgments of the court. They go right through the court system and they're enforceable in law. Okay. So you can enforce whatever has
in terms of settlement.
The terms of has signed. Straight up, go to the court and FIFE or whatever you need to do.
Because it becomes a judgment of the court, and you can enforce it just like a judgment of the court.
So it's just not.
So if he reneges on the agreement, all you just need to do is to take it to, and you get the beliefs after him.
Yes.
Instead of in trouble. Yeah.
Okay. It's becoming clearer. It's becoming clearer. So whatever we agree there is actually enforceable.
Yes.
Enforceable.
It is.
It is.
So if he reneges, I just go to the court.
That's all.
So this was agreed.
It
out
becomes
of
a
court.
consent judgment already. So it's already a consent judgment of the High Court.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Now, this is all happening November 5th
To 9.
To 9th.
to 9th.
Yes.
Now, if you can't afford a lawyer, I would advise you to do something about Settlement Week and take advantage of it. And you can do this either at the High Court in Lagos or
go to the website www.lmdc.org.
Okay, so that they can present their cases before, so that
They have to do it before October 31st. Because
Because we
Yes.
got to
The
do
register
some
before.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
You have to
today is the
register before.
26th, 27th?
27.
yes.
Wednesday is the 31st. So you
Yeah.
They
have
have
Monday,
Monday,
to
Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yes.
Right now we have over 200 submissions already. So we've been taking cases You know, if you're having, but if you want to still get your case in, come in before
October 31st.
October 31st.
And they say the settlement week is free of charge. That's the part that I like. So if you have any issues, don't miss out on that chance. In the alternative dispute resolution, what is the role of the lawyer? The parties' lawyers.
Okay. Okay, well, let me just quickly say something then. One of the things that we've been advocating, because you see, we know that all lawyers went to law school, and we know that what they taught them there is litigation advocacy. Now, one of the things we've been teaching is mediation advocacy. What is the role of a lawyer in mediation sessions? And one of the things, at least according to the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse Law 2007, Section 18 talks about the role of lawyers. And one of the things it says that you, as a lawyer, one of the things you're supposed to do is to cooperate with the mediation process, cooperate with the mediator, and advise your clients to cooperate with the mediation process and the mediator. And then you're also to help your clients in developing options and saying, look, the mediator is saying this, you know, why don't you try this and this, you know, ensure that it's a seamless and a smooth process. So what you're doing is you're also assisting the process. You are not being antagonistic. It is not a place for a lawyer to come and show off his legal skills. It's not a place to come and bring a million books and start quoting cases and precedents. It's an informal process, and you're expected to cooperate with, you know, with the mediation process and the mediator, and to advise your client to do likewise, so that at the end of the day, they can come to an amicable resolution of that dispute.
Are the mediators necessarily lawyers, or they're not?
No, not necessarily. In fact, we encourage non-lawyers, because for the simple reason that, you see, there's some cases, it's not all, just like judges, it's not everything that they know. That is, if a construction dispute or something to do with engineering comes up, judges are lawyers, really. They read law. And so you will find out that the technical aspect of the engineering things, or, you know, they might not know. So we encourage non-lawyers, engineers, you know, accountants, to come and we teach them how to become mediators. Now, if they're skilled mediators and is also an accountant, it's a plus. I get a banking dispute or something to do with audit, or I get an accountant in. So whatever the clients are saying, he knows it. And he also has mediation skills. So that's a plus. That sort of person will be very good with banking disputes, with auditing, you know, disputes and things like that. If we get in somebody who is an architect, and we have a construction dispute or something, we'll bring in that kind of person to come and resolve. So whatever language they're speaking, he goes along with them.
How do you get those that you train to be mediators? Do they apply, or do you invite them?
Oh, well, we always have, you know, because we do trainings, you know, periodically. So what goes out?
We apply.
You know,
They apply. There's
so
2 ways.
they know about it and they come. They apply. Now, if you want to become a member of the panel of notaries, it's a different thing. If you want to train as a mediator, you hear about the trainings, and then you come in and you're trained. If you want to become a member of our panel of notaries, that is, you want to become a mediator for the multi-door or an arbitrator for the multi-door, then you apply. We have what we call panel of neutrals application form.
Is it a full-time
It is
job?
assumed, no. It is assumed that you have some training before you can come and apply.
Well,
Yeah, you can volunteer your
What
services.
kind of
but we pay
training
them.
should you have before you apply?
Mediation training. And there are some organizations that, as you know, they specialize in training mediators. A very good organization is the Negotiation and Conflict Management Group. They are the ones that set up the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse. And they're experts in negotiation, mediation, and arbitration training. The Charter Institute of Arbitrators, probably, you know, the arbitration training.
You must have at least 40 hours.
40 hours of training. Once you have that, then you can come and apply to become a member.
Okay, so that's all about the Lagos Settlement Week, and if you have any issues which you really don't want to take to court, I believe that you should take advantage of the Lagos Settlement Week and go for alternative dispute resolution, and this is free from the 5th to the 9th of November, but you must send in your issues by Wednesday, the 31st of October, so that you will be scheduled. Is that the correct picture, madam?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We have numbers to call.
Yes, will you give us the numbers, please?
081 9058 4003 and 0709 800 7008.
Okay.
Or the website www.lagosmultidoor.org.
LagosMultidoor.org.
And then the email address lsw.lmdc@gmail.com.
LSW.
LMDC at gmail.com.
Okay. Right. So, if you have any issues, you can call any of these numbers: 0819 058 4003, 0709 800 7008. You can call those numbers, or you can email to lsw.lmdc@gmail.com. That is lsw.lmdc@gmail.com. Or for more information, you can go to their website at www.lagosmultidoor.org. lagosmultidoor.org. You can get information from any of these sources. And don't forget, if you want to take advantage of this brilliant week, you must send in your issues by latest Wednesday, the 31st of October, which is just 3 working days from today. You must get in your issues, or you will not be scheduled for the free Lagos Settlement Week. We have been looking at the Settlement Week, and we were chatting with Mrs. Adeyinka Aroyewun, who is Deputy Director, Lagos Multidoor Courthouse, Mrs. Achere Cole, Lagos Settlement Week Administrator, as well as Mr. Wale Adesokan, who is a member of the NBA. Mr. Adesokan, you will pardon me. They say ladies first. Thank you all for coming, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
For coming to tell us about this, what I think is a brilliant, brilliant idea indeed, because, I mean, I had a case that went on for 14 years in the High Court in Lagos, and it was because the courts were crowded. So this, I think, will reduce the stress on the courts.
Yes,
Thank you very much. And good luck through your settlement week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.